Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused? Like somehow everything became your fault? Even though you're not exactly sure what you did wrong. Maybe someone in your life constantly makes you question your feelings, twists situations, or somehow turns every disagreement into your responsibility. And the strange part is, emotional manipulation doesn't always look toxic. Sometimes it looks like love. Sometimes it sounds like concern. But underneath it, something else is happening. Someone may be slowly trying to control how you think, feel, and react. And if you don't recognize the signs early, it can slowly damage your confidence, your independence, and even your sense of reality. So in this video, we're going to break down 7 signs someone may be emotionally manipulating you and the psychology behind why these tactics work. If you've ever felt drained, confused, or guilty in a relationship without knowing why, this video might help you understand what's really going on. Let's get started. Sign 1. They make you doubt your own reality. The first sign of emotional manipulation is when someone makes you doubt your own perception of reality. This psychological tactic is often called gaslighting. Gaslighting happens when someone denies things they clearly said or did and insists that your memory is wrong. For example, you might say, "Yesterday you said something that really hurt me," but they respond with something like, "I never said that. You're imagining things." Or they might say, "You're being too sensitive. That didn't happen." Over time, this repeated denial starts to affect your confidence in your own memory. You begin questioning yourself. You start thinking, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I'm overreacting. But that confusion is exactly what manipulation creates. When someone successfully makes you doubt your own judgment, it becomes easier for them to control the narrative. Healthy relationships encourage open communication about disagreements. Manipulative ones try to erase reality entirely. Sign 2. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. The second sign is when someone makes you feel guilty for having boundaries. In healthy relationships, boundaries are respected. But emotional manipulators often treat boundaries as personal attacks. For example, imagine you say, "I need some time to focus on my work today." Instead of respecting that, they might respond with something like, "Wow, I guess I don't matter to you." Or, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" Now the conversation is no longer about your reasonable boundary. Instead, it becomes about their feelings being hurt. Suddenly, you're the one feeling guilty. Manipulators do this because guilt is a powerful tool. If they can make you feel like protecting your own needs makes you a bad person, you'll eventually stop setting boundaries altogether. And that gives them more control over your time, your energy, and your decisions. Sign 3. They constantly play the victim. The third sign is when someone constantly plays the victim, no matter what the situation is, even when they are clearly responsible for a problem. For example, you might confront someone about lying or breaking your trust. Instead of taking responsibility, they might respond with something like, "I can't believe you think I'm that kind of person. That really hurts me." Now suddenly, you're the one comforting them. The focus shifts away from their behavior and onto their feelings. This tactic works especially well on people who are empathetic and compassionate. Manipulators understand that if they position themselves as the victim, you may feel obligated to protect them emotionally. But there's a difference between someone expressing genuine hurt and someone avoiding accountability. Healthy people can admit when they are wrong. Manipulators often avoid responsibility by making themselves the victim of the situation. Sign 4. Their affection is conditional. Another powerful sign of manipulation is conditional affection. This means someone gives you love, kindness, or attention only when you behave the way they want. When you agree with them, they may be incredibly sweet. They might compliment you, show affection, or make you feel special. But the moment you challenge them, disagree with them, or express discomfort, their behavior suddenly changes. They become distant, cold, Sometimes they may even ignore you completely. Psychologically, this creates a reward and punishment pattern. Your brain begins associating agreement with emotional reward and disagreement with emotional punishment. Over time, you might start avoiding conflicts simply to keep the peace. But genuine love is not a reward system. Real relationships allow room for disagreement without emotional punishment. Sign 5. They twist conversations to make everything your fault. The fifth sign of emotional manipulation is when someone twists conversations so that everything somehow becomes your fault. You might bring up a genuine concern, something that hurt you or bothered you, but instead of addressing the issue, they redirect the blame. For example, you might say, "It hurt me when you ignored my messages all day." Instead of acknowledging that, they might respond with something like, "Well, maybe if you weren't so needy, I wouldn't need space." Or they might say, "You're always creating problems." Now the original issue disappears. Instead of discussing their behavior, the focus shifts to criticizing your reaction. This technique confuses the conversation and forces you into a defensive position. Before you realize it, you might even find yourself apologizing. But healthy communication focuses on solving problems, not shifting blame. Sign 6. They try to isolate you from others. Another major sign of emotional manipulation is isolation. Manipulators often try to distance you from friends, family, or anyone who might challenge their influence. But they usually don't do it directly. Instead, they plant subtle doubts. They might say things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family just doesn't understand our relationship." At first, these comments may seem small, but over time they can change how you view the people around you. You might start spending less time with friends. You may stop sharing things with family. And gradually, the manipulator becomes the main voice influencing your decisions. Isolation makes manipulation easier because fewer outside perspectives are present. Healthy relationships encourage connections with others. Manipulative ones slowly shrink your social circle. Sign 7. You feel emotionally drained around them. The final sign may be the most important. It's how you feel after interacting with them. Emotional manipulation often leaves people feeling drained. You may feel anxious before conversations. You might worry about saying the wrong thing. You may constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells. And sometimes the biggest sign appears when they're not around. You feel relieved. You feel lighter. Healthy relationships usually leave you feeling supported and emotionally safe. But manipulative relationships often create stress, confusion, and exhaustion. Your emotional reactions are signals. When something consistently makes you feel drained or uneasy, it's worth paying attention to. Conclusion. Emotional manipulation rarely happens all at once. It usually appears slowly, in small behaviors that build over time. A little guilt here, a little blame there, a small moment of self-doubt, until eventually you start questioning your own instincts. But recognizing these patterns is the first step toward protecting yourself. So remember the 7 warning signs. Someone may be emotionally manipulating you if they make you doubt your reality, guilt you for setting boundaries, constantly play the victim, give affection only when you obey them, twist conversations to blame you, try to isolate you from others, and leave you feeling emotionally drained. If you notice several of these signs in a relationship, it might be time to step back and evaluate the situation more carefully. Because real love, real friendship, and real connection should empower you, not control you. And the moment you start trusting your instincts again, manipulation begins to lose its power. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing for more content about psychology, relationships, and human behavior. Because understanding people is powerful, but understanding yourself is even more powerful.